Hello, Capricorn. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Bonefire Tarot by Gabby Angus West, Supportive Oracle Cards, Your Clairvoyant Oracle Cards by Belinda Grace, illustrations by Elaine Marzin. Illustrations? Yep. All right. Capricorn. Capricorn. What do we have for Capricorn? Capricorn, Capricorn. I mean, a good ending is always a nice ending. Okay. This is about somebody... I feel like it's about somebody, a person that you've had some type of adversity with. There might not have been an actual argument, but it's somebody who's made you uncomfortable in... Like, when I think of Capricorn, I feel like you guys think about things a lot. Like, if you're going to bring forth an argument, you've already made sure, like, you know what you think. You know where you stand. It's not really like, if you're going to really argue about it, it's kind of like, no, because this is crossing the line and we need to fix it. Like, usually when I feel Capricorn energy arguing about something, it's kind of like people are messing with something that's going to cause a big problem. You're not going to put up with it. It's not going to be allowed. Like, you're not going to, like, you usually when you come forward, you're like, no, we can't have this, and you're not going to back down. It's kind of like, no, I'm not going to back down. When I feel the Five of Swords come in, because this deck is a little different. They show her like that conflict. Usually the Five of Swords is like the fruitless wind usually, but that's not what I'm feeling when I'm seeing this card. It's kind of like, you need to stand your ground. I'm not backing down. I'm not going to let this fall apart. I'm not going to let this be a problem. I'm going to stand my ground, and this will work out the way it must work out because I'm not accepting failure. You also have the Ace of Swords, kind of like, if I have to do this by myself and go and put this together myself, I will do that. It's kind of like that type of energy. I'm standing my ground. I'm not going to let somebody push me around. And if I have to do it all by myself, then I'm going to do it by myself because this is going to work. There's no reason it should not work. It's very strong energy. There's a very good reason behind it, though. Like, I'm not accepting failure, and it will fail if I back down. If I back off, it will fail. Not an option. Not an option. Now, your energy comes forward very strong, but I don't feel like you're not coming forward like, how do I explain this? Like, you're just saying this is how it is. Like, you're just kind of like laying down the law, like this is how it is, and that's how this is going to go. You're also coming forward like explaining, I feel like you're putting right out there why. Like, you're just starting right off explaining why this is going to be this way, and this is why it's going to be this way, and then we're going to do it that way, and that's why, because this is how this is going to work out, and this is not going to fail, because if we do it that way, it's not going to work, and this is how it's going to go. You might be very much kind of like going into like, this is why I'm doing it this way, or this is why this is going to go this way. You're not giving like the air of negotiation. You're not allowing that. Kind of like, no, that's going to make things worse. We're not going to like have paralysis by analysis. We're not going to do that. This is how it's going to go, and I'm going to explain how and why, and then we're just going to start doing it, even if I do it on my own. The other side, whoever you're dealing with, seems to realize that when you're standing in this position, like, you did not come about this lightly. This had to happen. There's a good reason for it. And I feel like, I'm not going to say the other side likes it, but I understand they're seeing it like you're coming forward with a reason, with a purpose. And they understand that you mean every word you say, and there's a very strong, very good reason why you're doing that. You're standing with conviction. They can feel your conviction. Them liking it, I don't know. But they understand your conviction and the reason behind it. Like, you didn't just wake up today and think, oh, I'm just going to argue about this. Nope. You came forward like, this needs to go the right way, and I'm standing strong with it. That's a really, really strong energy. Now, you come forward with the Ace of Swords with the information. You then push forward next with the Ace of Wands, like, and I said it, and I meant it, and here I go. It's kind of like, I said it, I meant it, and here I go. The car started. You're either getting in or you're not. 5 minutes, I'm out of here. So you're either in the car or you're not in the car. Either way, I'm going down that road in 5 minutes. Join if you want. If you can't, then you can't. It's kind of like I'm done talking about it. I'm done explaining it. I'm done informing people. Time for action, and you're going into it. Now, when this happens, the other side seems to see the seriousness of this, kind of like they trust that you're right in the sense of like this will work out. Do they agree this is the only way to do it? I don't know about that, but they do trust that your way does have success with it. So they're like, well, if we go with the Capricorn, if we do what the Capricorn wants, we will have success. Is it the only way? I don't know, but at least we'll have success. And they realize that we need to realize that this isn't something we want to quit right now. We want this to work out, and it's not time to go our own direction. It's like it's not ready for the situation to end. It's kind of like it's time to put in the effort. And the Cthulhu is kind of like realizing the plan is right here. The plan, like when he's got the world in his hand there, kind of like the plan is right here. This will work out if we go forward. We got to stick together. If we stick with the Capricorn and we stick together, this could have success. I feel like they're deciding to let it go. They're kind of like, yeah, it'll work out this way. Let's get along. Let's work with the Capricorn. Let's just let it be. Move the obstacles out of the way. Get in the car with the Capricorn. Let the Capricorn drive. The Capricorn will get us to our destination. Let's do it. So I feel like that's the catch-22, if you want to say that. I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit weird to even say it that way. They don't believe that's the only way, but they do believe it is a successful way. So it's kind of like, why not go along with the Capricorn? Okay, good. Now, this keeps going forward. I do feel like people are following you. The first thing I'm pulling in is the oneness with the Four of Swords, which is kind of matching the Six of Swords energy we also had right here. I don't feel like there's controversy or conflict. I feel like people are really understanding your conviction. Like you're not taking no, you're not going to dicker with this, you're not going to negotiate it, this needs to work out this way, let's go. And people are supporting that. They're accepting that. They know you have a lot of conviction. I keep getting that. Conviction, resilience, dedication, whatever you want to put there. You're not backing down. You're going, you're going, you're going. They're supporting it. They're realizing the more they support you, the better the success. They're also feeling that. The oneness is them working with you. The Four of Swords is kind of like nobody's giving you a hard time. People realize that you are going forward with a reason. This makes sense to you. This does have success. Might as well. I also feel like what they like is like you're very dependable. Whether they like the way you're saying things, whether they like the way you're doing things, that seems to be to the side. What they love about it is they know what's going to happen. You know, if you say this is going to happen tomorrow at 6 a.m., guess what? That happens tomorrow at 6 a.m. If you say next weekend we're going to do this, that, and the other thing in this order, they know that you will be there, you will be doing that. They can depend on that happening. So everything is like in order, and what you say will happen. They like the dependability. And I feel like this is another thing that's kind of winning people over about you. If they didn't already realize it, they are realizing it. Like what you say is going to happen is what you do. You show up and you put it together the way you said you were going to do it. If other people fail, that's on other people, but you do what you say you're going to do. I'm also getting this here. On your side, you got, is that wisdom? Wisdom and the star. I feel like as it keeps going forward, you're seeing how people react to you, and you're seeing that they're understanding like why you're doing what you're doing, and it's feeling more cohesive. Like things are coming together better. I also feel like you're not feeling on edge because people aren't getting in your way, and that's making you feel better. You're not completely letting down your guard, but you're kind of like, as long as people are working with me on this, this goes a lot easier. So I feel like you're trying to show that appreciation about how, like, you show up, I said I'm going to be here at 6 a.m., you show up at 6 a.m. too, we can do this, and you're showing like, hey, because you showed up, this goes without a hitch. Because you showed up, I'm thankful because not only is it good for me, it's good for you, and you're showing like, see how well the situation works out when we all do what we're supposed to. So you're kind of like highlighting that, showing that appreciation. People seem to feel like you're acknowledging their efforts, and they like that. And they feel like they're also trying to reciprocate that. So it seems to be more cohesive in that respect too. The way this goes in, or like goes into the next phase, because it seems like for some of you maybe that's it. For other of you it goes into another phase. I'm getting like you're gonna have to like make note of like how things worked out, and I feel like there's like communication. It says automatic writing. It doesn't have to be literally writing, but there's some type of communication where it's kind of like not like talking it out as in what to do, but like I feel like just how did it work out? How did we all feel about it? How did it really plan out? Or how did the plan really come into life when it finally did? When I did what I did, and you said you did with that, and then you did what you were supposed to, and we all did what we were supposed to. How did that balance? It's kind of like, it almost kind of feels like a situational audit, not in the sense of like the government would do, like where did you go wrong, not like that, but more in the sense of like this is what we said was going to happen, this is how it actually worked, this is what we liked happening, this is what we didn't like happening. Just like an audit of the situation, like everybody, including you obviously, telling like this is how it happened, this is why that happened, this is how it felt, did it have to go this way, could we have done it a different way. This is the part where I feel like you're okay talking about it, kind of like because it's already said and done. This is more like, let's look at where we've been. That way, if we go around this again, we can decide like this would have gone better that way, or that would have gone better this way. That way, if we approach this situation like this again, we can have our edits. I'm getting there's a lot of like, there's a lot of camaraderie, but there's a lot of stress here at the same time. Why is there stress here? Because I feel like people might be kind of saying, well, we could have done it this way, we could have done it that way at this point. And it's a little uncomfortable, kind of like, it's already a said and done deal. I don't really want to go back and like go over it over and again. I want to move towards other things, but it's kind of like this self-audit, situational audit brings people together stronger. It's hard for everybody to do because I feel like you got to make the point of like, yeah, but if we did this in the beginning, if we did this before we did anything, we would have wasted a lot of time when we could have just started moving forward. So you kind of have to like factor in time as an issue. Kind of like if we just kept talking about it back then instead of me just making the decision and moving forward, we would have had half the time to get it done, and that would have made it a lot worse. The fact you need to remember and make sure that they remember that like time was an issue. Time is a resource, and you making the decision and moving forward on it made sure time was still working in your favor. So that's a very big thing. Make sure that that doesn't go against anybody with the Ten of Wands. Like that's the stressful part, about the whole thing. Remembering that time is a commodity, time is a resource that's not plentiful sometimes. And you might want to like remember that for yourself and remind other people. It may have seemed too harsh, it may have seemed like other ways might have been possible, but that would have limited down the resource of time, and we wouldn't have had the time as a luxury that we did. It wouldn't have worked out as well if we just kind of like went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It would have shortened our time frame a lot. I do feel like you doing this, it really does create a better outcome for the next time around. But always remember that too. Time is a resource, and like moving forward, that did help greatly. You know, instead of going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You made the right decision is actually what I'm getting. It's just reminding people like by pushing forward and making that decision, time was more plentiful than it would have been. Like it's the time, like remembering about the time. Bring forth the time and how you conserved time that way. That was very, very beneficial. That was why it was the right decision to do it that way. That's what I'm getting. I do feel like you made the right decision, especially with that factor. Are we good? All right. I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. This James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.